the last two grahas are not exactly physical existences, but they are called as chaya grahas, or they are shadows. They are not physically present, and they don't have you know existences of their own, but they impact all the other grahas based on how the shadow of sun is playing around, and how the arrangement of the sun, moon and earth are playing around, and how they affect the visibility and the presence and the impact of other grahas. Rahu and Ketu, the last two, impact those. So the first shloka is on Rahu. It says, Ardhakayam Mahaviryam Chandra Aditya Vimardanam. Chandraaditya Vimardanam. Simhika Garbha Sambhutam Tam Rahum Pranamamyaham. The word Pranamamyaham you are all familiar by now. I bow down to Tam Rahum, to that Rahu. The word Rahu means the one who grabs and then lets go. And Ardhakayam, he is depicted with half a body. His Rahu and Ketu are in fact complementary to each other. Rahu has a head but no body. Ketu has a huge torso like a snake but no head. So it's symbolism in saying that they can't swallow somebody forever. They have to, because their body is cut in half. Anything that goes in must, they can only retain them for a short time. Immediately they have to, they come out of their bodies. So he is Ardhakayam. He has half a body. Mahaviryam. He is of great valor, because as powerful grahas as Surya and Chandra themselves, he is able to vanquish Chandra and Aditya, the most powerful grahas. And he is said to be born of Simhika. Simhika is one of the wives of the 13 wives of Kashyapa. Simhika is one. There are stories as to how Rahu was born to Simhika. So all these other wives had sons and daughters, and all these birds and serpents and yakshas, kinnaras, all those Gandharvas born to Kashyapa and all the other wives. Simhika was left last, and all the other her sisters started taunting her, and Simhika went and told Kashyapa and that give me a son who scares everybody, who looking at whom inspires fear in people's hearts. So then Kashyapa said, okay, so be it, and then Rahu was born. So Simhika Garbha Sambhutam, the one who is born from the womb of Simhika. And there are 8 kinds of difficulties or troubles that one can go through. They're called as Ashtadaridryas. These Ashtadaridryas, or 8 kinds of immense troubles or suffering that one can go through, is said to be under the influence of Rahu. The shloka for him again goes something like this. Ardhakayam Mahaviryam Chandraditya Vimardanam Simhika Garbha Sambhutam Tam Rahum Pranamamyaham. Alright, let's move on to the final shloka on the Navagrahas, and there is one Phalashruti at the end. The final shloka on Ketu is something like this. Palasha Pushpa Sankasham Taraka Graha Mastakam Raudram Raudratmakam Ghoram Tam Ketum Pranamamyaham. Yeah, Pranamami Aham. I bow down to Tam Ketum. Ketu literally means something which is pointed. So that is why the word Ketu is also used for a flag or a pinnacle or a mountain top. So anything which is pointed and at the ahead of something is known by the word Ketu. So Tam Ketum, to that pointed one. Ghoram, who is frightful. Palasha Pushpa Sankasham, who shines like the Palasha flower. Palasha is, again, you can look it up on online, and I have in the PDFs that I have uploaded on Patreon, there are these scientific names of each of these, the Priyangu and Palasha, both of them, the scientific names are mentioned, so you can look it up. Taraka Graha Mastakam, he is at the forefront of all the Tarakas, all the Nakshatras and all the Grahas. He devours them. Raudram, who is fierce. And Raudra Atmakam, who is of a violent nature. So there's no complexity here. So the same, who is fierce and who is of a violent nature, because he, of course, that his shadow consumes all the other grahas. And Ketu is born of, so Brahma, he created this feminine form called Mrityu, who's the incarnation of death. But Mrityu, she came and saw the life that was going on all across, and she felt enamored with it, and she felt sad for it to get on with her work that Brahma assigned her. So she let out a sigh, and that from that sigh of Mrityu was born Ketu, is how the story goes. So the shloka of Ketu is something like this. Palasha Pushpa Sankasham. Here, guys, please make sure that the distinction is clear between this sh and sh. You remember the Vakshuddhi, most of you, I guess, have gone through it. The Vakshuddhi course, the Maheshwara Sutrani line, which goes sh, sar. So the first one is sh, the second one is sh. Palasha Pushpa Sankasham Tarakagraha Mastakam Raudram Raudratmakam Ghoram Tam Ketum Pranamamyaham. This completes all the 9 shlokas on the Navagrahas. The final shloka is very simple. It talks about what happens by chanting this. It's a Phala Shruti, which Phala meaning the result and Shruti means hearing. Now we hear the benefits of doing a chant of the Navagraha Stotram. Let me chant the shloka first. Iti Vyasa Mukhodgeetam Yaf Pathet Susamahitaha Diva va Yadiva Ratrau Vighna Shantihi Bhavishyati. That Vighna Shantihi Bhavishyati becomes Vighna Shantir Bhavishyati. This entire shloka is a combination of 2 key ideas. The first one being Yaha Pathet, the one who reads. What happens? Vighna Shantihi Bhavishyati. Such a person's Vighna meaning obstacles, Shanti meaning Shamanam, Shanti meaning pacifying or reducing. Bhavishyati is will happen. Bhavishyat Kala being the future. Bhavishyati is will happen. Vighna Shantihi Bhavishyati is obstacles shall be pacified. What should one read? Iti Vyasa Mukha Udgeetam. Iti meaning thus. Vyasa Mukha is from the face of Vyasa. Udgeetam, which has been sang out by. How should one read it? Su Samahitaha. Samahitaha meaning by being equanimous, by being in an equanimous state of mind and body. When should one read it? Divava. Va meaning or. Cha is and va is or. Yadi is if. If either chanted in the morning or in the night time. So it can be chanted at any time of the day or night. What happens if one chants this stotram like this by being equanimous, either in the day or in the night? The chant that has been sung out from the face of Vyasa, the one who reads it. For such a person, Vighna Shantihi Bhavishyati. For such a person, all the obstacles in one's life shall be pacified, shall be removed. So I'll chant the shloka one more time, and then we'll move to Zoom. I'll send the Zoom link here. I'll post it in the comment section and in the below the video in the call to action button. You can click on it and we'll move there. I am going through a kind of a sadhana which requires me to follow a strict diet. So I'm a little low on energy and I'm continuously speaking. So once we go to Zoom, I'll have you guys chant all the shlokas, and I'll only interfere if there are any corrections. All right, the last shloka of it is Iti Vyasa Mukhodgeetam Yaf Pathet Susamahitaha Divava Yadiva Ratrau Vighna Shantir Bhavishyati. All right. That concludes all the shlokas. So we have done the 9 shlokas of Navagraha Stotram and then 1 shloka for Phala Shruti. That concludes the Learn It Live session for Navagraha Stotram. So this is just a conclusion for people on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching it, guys. For everybody who's watching on YouTube, I hope you found it useful. And now you have the individual word meanings of all the shlokas of Navagraha Stotram. If you wish to get the PDF of it or the MP3 chant of it, please check the links in the description below on YouTube. All our patrons who support us on patreon.com have this incentive. We try to at least give them some value back in terms of conducting these Learn It Live sessions and providing these small auxiliary resources like MP3s, PDFs, docs and images. So do check out patreon.com, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Namaskaram. Namaskaram.